The House Intelligence
Committee. 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks, and ultimately, they're going to hold the deadlines firm, they say, on this. They expect them within 2 weeks. Also, the top Republican on the House Intelligence Committee, Michael Turner of Ohio, says he's going to ask the department and the director of national intelligence for a damage assessment of what might have been compromised, what damage might have been incurred by these records being in a Biden-affiliated personal office.
And this is an example of how the president's world has changed now that Republicans control the House. They now, for the first time in his presidency, have the ability to launch investigations into him, into his administration, into his family. And that's exactly what they're doing less than 24 hours after we first learned about these classified documents, when there are still a lot of unanswered questions. I mean, you pointed out that we now know that these documents were of a range of levels of confidentiality, and yet we still don't know what those documents were about.
What strikes me, Nancy, is that it's also just gone to the top of the queue. This is the first thing out of the gates for the House Oversight Committee in terms of a date set, firm deadline, formal announcement of an investigation. They had pledged a whole series of investigations into the Biden administration from the House Oversight Committee, including into the president's son. This now is the first thing out of the gates, and the symmetry between this and what James Comer, the top Republican on the committee, argues is the Mar-a-Lago case is part of what's informing their argument, that there's two styled cases that they want to have investigated similarly. They're making an equivalency there, whether justified or not.
We know that Republicans are drawing those comparisons. What do Democrats have to say today when you were speaking to them in the halls of Congress about this situation?
Let's go back to the same committee, the House Oversight Committee, which seems to be taking the lead on this. The top Democrat on that committee is Jamie Raskin of Maryland, who says his first impression of what he's read of the reporting is that the Biden attorneys seem to move immediately, promptly, and properly once records are discovered. You can see the baseline foundation of their argument that there was a speed with which the Biden team responded to this, a contrast to Mar-a-Lago, where it required an FBI seizure on August 8th, months after the request for the return of the documents began.
Right. Basically, what the White House has said is that the president's lawyers were packing up his office. They found these documents. Immediately, they stopped what they were doing. They contacted the National Archives, and then they, in turn, contacted the Justice Department. Scott, with the time we have left, I want to ask you about another big story on Capitol Hill, and that has to do with the new Republican Congressman George Santos. Just today, you had two New York Democrats announcing that they are going to file a formal complaint with the Ethics Committee in the House. What are they accusing him of, and what are the possible implications here?
Of financial misconduct or campaign finance disclosure misconduct. Those two New York Democrats, Dan Goldman and Richie Torres, delivered their ethics complaint to Congressman Santos's door today. Let's let Dan Goldman explain what he was after when he delivered the complaint today.
Mr. Santos's conduct, both as it relates to his outright lies about his biography, about his employment, about his entire person, his being, his religion. All of that reflects on every one of us in Congress. And what we are asking the Ethics Committee to investigate is very specifically his financial disclosures, which are highly suspicious and seemingly miraculous if they are to be believed.
Santos isn't commenting. I want to tell you, this is not sustainable. There is a press corps of about a dozen cameras outside that office every day. He's not answering questions. Somebody's going to have to relent. I'm just not sure who it's going to be.
Some interesting stagecraft there with his colleagues standing right outside his door as well. All right, Scott MacFarlane, thank you so much.